they could have made the kind of impact elsewhere that they'd made in New Zealand at that time.
Although the Clean had had enough, Doug Hood and Chris Knox once more headed south to record 4 more Dunedin bands that Roger Shepherd wanted to release on Flying Nun.
The first Chills recordings were on the Dunedin double EP, which was Verlaines, Stones, Sneaky Feelings, Chills.
We go for a swim in the deep of space. 1,000 colours reflect off your face. The stars surround us as we sail on through a kaleidoscope world. Don't need a red light bulb, I can see Mars. We've got a stereo and electric guitars. The sounds we make echo on through a kaleidoscope world. Oh, my maniac, hail to the back, gonna make you like an even if I just spread some on the ground. Have a look around, burn it to the ground and watch the engines rushing. You turn me round, you turn me round and round.
When we started off, we figured we want to do everything the wrong way, you know. You're not allowed to call yourselves the Stones, so we did. Nice name.
It was the release of the Dunedin double EP that started the idea of the Dunedin Sound, a phrase that would come to haunt Flying Nun.
Some people somehow could find something in common between the sort of classical rock of the Verlaines, the total out-and-out sort of stooge craziness of the Stones, the twee little happy little pop songs of the Chills, and the sort of birds come Tamla Motown sound of the Sneaky Feelings, because they all used guitars. It was about the only common thread I could see, but other people seem to be able to find, oh, they're all jangly, aren't they? All guitar jangly stuff. That must be the Dunedin Sound.
There was a Dunedin Sound, there's no getting around it. The way the guitars sounded, trebly guitars, jangly guitars, the things they were listening to, although by the same token, the Sneaky Feelings were listening to different things than, say, the Verlaines were. I guess we all shared equipment and band members and girlfriends and stuff.
The individual who coined the expression the Dunedin Sound will come as a surprise to the Flying Nun musicians who objected to the description.
I think it might have been me, actually, just as a passing comment that I think I possibly made to someone. And of course, I apologise to everyone, and I'm really, really, really sorry. 'Cause I'm abroad, and I'm a shadow, you tell yourself that's what I am.
More significant than the Dunedin Sound debate was the actual recording of the Dunedin double EP. Chris Knox's experiences with his previous band Toy Love had a huge effect on him, and the lessons he learned would create trouble between him and some of the Flying Nun bands. Before Roger Shepherd had started Flying Nun, the big record companies were the only place a Dunedin band like Toy Love could go. WEA, looking for a commercial success, signed Toy Love and upset Chris Knox by demanding a polished, radio-friendly record.
The Toy Love had recorded for WEA, and that was just a soul-sucking experience. Our album was recorded in a state-of-the-art facility in Sydney, you know, with the little faders moving up remotely, even though nobody was touching them. But we weren't allowed to use our own guitar amplifiers because they went when you weren't playing guitar, you know, this sort of shit. And so to have total control over your music was much more important than getting paid for it at the time.
There's a real hangover from Chris Knox and the terrible experience that Toy Love had in Australia trying to record their album, and everyone was basically instructed, you know, don't go near major studios, you'll lose control of your music.
The Dunedin double EP was recorded on Knox's 4-track and featured the simple recording techniques that Knox came to believe encapsulated the ethos of Flying Nun.
It was, again, extraordinarily Mickey Mouse, but sold heaps and started the careers of at least 3 out of those 4 bands who went on to much greater things. The Stones didn't last very long, unfortunately, and they were a great, great band.
You know, beyond our wildest dreams, that making a record, I mean, we weren't even sure that would come to anything at that particular point in time.
The idea of doing a recording of any sort just seemed like completely ridiculous. You know, no one from Dunedin would be able to make a record.
Chris Knox's role in taking his 4-track recorder around the country was crucial to Flying Nun. One band, though, was not so happy with Knox's DIY approach to the recording of their music.
Some of the material we presented, I don't think Chris and I don't think some of the other Flying Nun people really got it. We had kind of ambitions of doing something a bit more complicated, and as a result, we didn't really like the 4-track sound very much. Also, there were kind of numerous technical fuck-ups in their production. For example, the bass guitar got left off one track entirely.
And 20 years on, the missing bass track is still a contentious issue.
You have to look at the people who are actually supervising the mixing, which is Doug Hood. So, what happened, Doug?
Matthew has got a huge chip on his shoulder, and I really don't know why. They got treated exactly the same as everybody else.
But Bannister had even bigger problems with Chris Knox, which he aired in his 1999 book about the sneaky feelings.
When he was critical, he was like really critical. It wasn't like constructive criticism. It was like everything you've done is sucked and your life is a waste of time. So, I mean, it could become a personal attack, or it felt like that to me. I mean, probably he might not have seen it that way, but, you know, it was, to me, it seemed to be like really aggressive.
Is that Matthew Bannister's idea? The Enforcer. Yeah, well, I did get reasonably well known for drunkenly and stonedly going up to bands after they'd played and saying, "Oh, for Christ's sakes, you've got to stop playing that song, and that song. And you've got to get rid of that bloody bass player," you know, etc., etc. I'd like to think I was the Jiminy Cricket, the little conscience on the back of the Pinocchio that was Flying Nun, that I tried to keep things pure. I guess I had a real vision of what Flying Nun should be like, and it was the home-built, do-it-yourself thing that, you know, punk started.
I had a pop column in the Evening Star here every Friday night, and I would trot out my opinions on the Friday night, and Chris would come in on the Monday and go through them, ripping them each one to shreds and telling me where I was going wrong and stuff.
I sort of had to make my day feeling coming up every now and again. Yeah, I got pretty stroppy.
It was the opposite of High Fidelity. The guy in High Fidelity shouts at his customers, but Chris used to shout at me, and I just cowered back.
I think overall I like his, you know, I like his work more than I like his personality. I mean, I appreciate what he does musically, but I wouldn't necessarily want to be stuck on a desert island with him.